Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. Today we're going to be talking about making bamboo utensils, cooking spoons and forks, and customizing them with your own graphics. And I did this one for my wife a couple weeks ago and posted up some of the pictures on the other platforms like Facebook and a couple of forums, and everybody loved it and they loved the idea. And I'm going to tell you, the Dollar Tree sold out pretty quick on these. I have a few people in my area that watch my videos and they ran and grabbed up everything they had. So I went on to Amazon and I got this set right here, which is just a basic set. I'll put a link down below in the description. It's 5 pieces, really nice bamboo set, much better than the Dollar Tree one, although they're exactly the same. Not quite sure what the difference is. Maybe it's a different manufacturer, but all the measurements are the same. So today I'm going to show you how to frame this out so you can get everything perfect, because on my first couple I didn't get it perfect. But this time I'm going to make it perfect, and the end product is going to go out to one of my Patreon supporters, and his name is Stuart, and I am making this for his daughter, whose name is Tara. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Now, I did some basic measurements of the spoon itself and, you know, the fork and the other utensils, and it's 298 millimeters from one end to the other. So I'm going to start with this rectangle. I'm going to put it onto a line path, and we're going to unlock it and make sure that you're in millimeters right here. So I'm going to put the width at 298, and I know that the height on this is between 20 and 25. So it's 20 up here where it gets a little narrower, and it's 25 back here. So what I'm going to do is choose a happy medium and put it at 22. And there we go. That's our workpiece right there. Now, to make this into a spoon, we also need to add the spoon end. So I measured the spoon end, the oval part of the spoon, and it's 100 by 60. So I'm just going to bring out an oval from here, drag it out in any shape, doesn't matter what it is. And it is 100, and I press tab, by 60, press enter, and there is our spoon part. Now, the entire spoon part is not, well, it's all engravable, but I'd rather engrave on the inside part. So I took a measurement of where it dips down, and I came up with 80 by 50. So what I'm going to do is select this one. I'm just going to press Control and D to duplicate it, and I'm going to change it to 80 and press tab, and 50 and press enter. So now I have my two ovals, and I'm just going to drag from the bottom right so that I have a green drag. See the green color? And that selects both of them. If I drag from the top left, it doesn't select anything unless the whole thing is encompassed. And you see it'll only select that one. So you have to cover everything to select it. Dragging from the bottom right, or actually anywhere from the right, it doesn't matter where you drag from, will select both of them. So now I've got these two selected, and I'm going to drag this over here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm moving my work plane by pressing down on the center mouse button and dragging, or you can just come up here to the top and click the drag button and then click with your left mouse. To zoom in, I'm rolling in on my roller wheel. Now I'm going to select this again, and I'm going to bring this down and get it right to where the edges are, just like that. Now you see it's almost touching both edges, so I want to have it right at the edge of both, and that is close enough. So now we've got what looks like almost our spoon here. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the outer circle, hold down shift, click on the rectangle, weld those two together like so, and this is the weld button right here. I'm sorry I went quick. Let me back that up and show you again. So I'm going to click on the outer circle, click on the rectangle, and then come over here to weld. And there we have something that's looking like our spoon. Now there's a spot that I want to mark on here, which is the little circle cutout for the hanger over here. I know that little circle cutout is exactly 7 millimeters. So I measured that, and now I'm going to come over here to the circle tool, click on it. I'm going to press down shift, and I'm going to draw out a perfect circle. Come up here to the lock button, lock it, and I'm going to set it at 7 millimeters. And that's exactly the size of the little cutout over here. So now I'll bring that down over here, set it in place. I'll zoom in, so that I can see it really well, and align these horizontal centers. So now I know it's perfectly centered. I also took a measurement from the edge to the center of the hole, and that turned out to be 18 millimeters. So now I'm going to take the line tool. I'm going to click once. Now I have my line, and that's 10, 15, that's about 18 right there. I'm going to click there. I'm going to right click to get rid of it. Come back here to the selector tool, select it, or you could press the escape key, and I know that I need to be at 18 millimeters. So I'm going to click in here on the width. I'm going to change that to 18, and that's exactly how far from the edge it is. So with it selected, I'm going to bring it right here, and I know now that, see the little dot in the middle? That's that little dot right there in the middle is the exact center. So I'm going to hold control and use my left arrow and just move it ever so slightly until I have it directly centered with this line. Now I can select the line and delete it because I don't need that anymore. And there we go. We have our tool. Now I guess you guys can figure all this out from here on out. You know, you drop a couple graphics in, but I'm going to show you a couple little tricks. So we're just going to drag and select everything, drop that onto a tool path on down here on the bottom right, T1 or T2, whichever one you like. So now that we have that on a tool path, we know that our rectangle is 298. So I'm going to draw another rectangle, and I'm going to unlock this up here, and I'm just going to make this one about 100, and we know that the height, we said 22 was going to be the average. So that's, there we go. Now I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put this on the T2 path just so it's a different color. I'm going to use this one to align all of my artwork. So I know I don't want to go more than about halfway out because it starts getting narrower and narrower. It comes all the way down to 20 millimeters. So it goes from 20 here to 25 there. And this is about the right spot where I need to be. Now you don't need to make a rectangle. You can just draw a line right here. You know, same thing. But I like to have that as my working area. And just to make sure it's aligned perfectly, I will take and get it right where I think is the right spot, which right there is pretty good. That's close enough. So we've got our spoon and we're ready to go. Now the next thing I need to do is put in a name. So I'm going to come over here to the text tool. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to type, and actually capital, like so. And I have this in Cabin Sketch. I happen to like this font on Bamboo because it comes out looking really superb. So I'm going to take and put Tara. I'm going to let that snap in somewhere here, right there. Once it snaps into the middle, then I'm just going to slowly move it by pressing Control and the arrow key to where I want it, which is closer to that little cutout right there. And that's perfect. Now the next thing I'm going to do is come to my art library, and I'll have links to all these files if you want to download them for free, and you can make your own using either my template. I'll put a link to the entire template, or just the art libraries. The art libraries are all available on my forums. So what I'm going to do now is zoom out a little bit, bring in the cats, 3 cats. He said that she likes cats. I'm going to come up here to the top and ungroup these, and then I'm only going to select this one cat right here, and I'm going to drag him up, and I didn't get them all, see that? So I'm just going to hold down shift and grab that extra piece right there. I'm going to move him out of the way, and I'm just going to get rid of these 2 guys. Now I'm going to drag over this and group it back together again. I'm going to rotate it by coming up here to rotate 90 degrees, and then I'm going to scale it down. And I want this to be about, I'm going to look at the height over here. So the height of this, I want to be around 19, I'm going to say 18 to be safe, 18 millimeters. And I forgot to lock it. Look at that. So we have to lock it first and then do the 18 millimeters. I do all this stuff live, so you get to see the mistakes and everything. So now we're going to take this and drop it right there, and it snapped right into the middle of that. Now keep in mind, this is a tool path, so it's not going to burn at all. So now we've got our cat, we've got our Tara. The Tara we're going to put on the black layer. The cat is already on the black layer. And I'm going to bring out one more graphic. I'm going to come down here in my art library to cooking, and I think I'll bring out Top Chef. It on the black layer down on the bottom left. scale it up just a bit. We're going to rotate this also 90 degrees so that it all matches. I'm going to drag this over, let it snap into the middle like so. And now this inside part is where it gets lower. So I'm going to scale it to that entire size of that inside piece there. And now what I'm going to do is put this black layer on offset fill. So I could put it on fill. If I put it on fill and I come up here to the preview, you'll see that we have 21 minutes and 59 seconds. If I change it to offset fill, you'll see that the time gets chopped more than in half. Not only that, but the offset fill goes around in a circle. So the time is less because you lose all of the white space scanning, okay? And it also does a really, really nice job. There's not so much movement. In fact, there's no movement of the gantry because it's just going in a complete circle on all three of these graphics. So what we've done here is we've cut our time probably by about 60%, it looks like. Now, one thing you do need to do is you do need to do some testing on your laser to find out, you know, what speed and what power you can burn bamboo at. I'm not worried about that because I have bamboo in my cut library. I've already done my tests. This is my engrave right here. All I have to do is assign it to that layer. It's exactly the same as what I just did because I already knew what the settings were. So there we have it. That's the first one. So now comes the trick. So the black layer we're going to turn off. And now that we have this all set, this blue tool path here is the one that we want to frame with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this blue tool path out right up to the edge here, like that. And then on this side, I'm going to stretch it to the edge here. And I'm going to turn off the framing for the orange one. So we'll turn off the framing for the orange one. Now the only thing that's going to frame, and actually we don't even need to show that at this point. I'll just turn it off for a second. The only thing that we need to frame is the most important key part is going to be from here to here, around like this. This is going to be our key framing spot right here. And I think this is where a lot of people mess up. They try and frame the entire workpiece and it doesn't work out well. So if we just frame, you know, this spot right here, and this will frame all the way around to here, and then I'll know where the edge is on this side to have the edge of the spoon, and then it'll come all the way back, and then I can make sure from here to here to here that it's perfectly lined up, and we'll have a perfect frame. So that's a neat little trick for framing this odd shape like that. So I'm just going to show the orange one again, but it won't frame. So I've turned off framing up here. So the only thing that's going to frame is this. Everything else is turned off. Now what I'm going to do is move it to a spot on my work bed where I think would be about the right spot, and I'm going to say right about there looks good. And now comes the really great trick, and if you watched my video last week on framing, you'll see exactly what that is. You can see that this is on the tool path still, right? What we're going to do is we're going to just put this on a different layer. We're going to put it on the green for now. We're going to open that up by double clicking on here. We're going to set the speed to, I don't know, say 1400. And here's the trick. Set the power to 0.05. And that way it just turns on the laser so that you can see it. Now we're going to change the number of passes to 3. And now with 3 passes, what's going to happen is it's going to go around 3 times. It's not going to do anything else right now except for this green framing. And this is how you're going to get a perfect engraving on this utensil, is by framing it properly. So I'm going to go ahead and videotape the framing separately, and I'll be right back and I'll show you how that went. Alright, so here we go with the framing, and you'll see that I'm able to move the workpiece around because it's just going to go around and around in a circle. 3, 4, 5, however many times you set it to do it. Now I did find out doing several of these that 5 is probably the best setting because I keep knocking things around and moving things. These move so easily. They're, you know, bamboo. But one thing that I did notice is that every one of them has a slightly different shape. So you can hold them all together perfectly square, and they're all cut just slightly differently. So you have to sort of watch. I figured out where the laser drops off over on this side, or it comes back on, and where it comes on this side drops off on this side, and just try and get those two parts lined up, and of course the top corner. And that's the only way that I know to get this lined up perfectly. And you'll never ever get these perfectly lined up, but you can get really close. That's the best way to do this, is just to get as close as you possibly can. And trust me folks, it's going to come out better than anybody else's. Alright, so now you can see by the video the framing went pretty well, pretty easy. Didn't take me long. So doing these 3 passes gave me time to maneuver the spoon on the workbed, and I got it lined up just perfectly, exactly where I want it to be. So now with this framing rectangle, I'm going to take it and grab it and move it off. I'm just going to set it back on a tool path again. So I'm going to put it on the T2 layer. I'm going to turn off the framing on that one. So now the framing is off. I'm going to come over to the Cuts and Layers tab, and I have to put these back now where I want them. So this one I want on the black layer, and I want it to output, and there we go. So now it's ready. It's ready to burn. I think I want to move these just a little bit closer to the hole. So I'm just going to scoot these over just a hair by selecting them and pulling them back a little bit, just to make sure everything's good. Now this one we don't have to worry about. It's not going to output because it's on a tool path. And this one we don't have to worry about either. So it's just these three, excuse me, that we're going to be burning today. So I'm going to come over to the laser tab. I'm going to hit start, and then you'll see the actual burn itself. Alright, so here we are, 45 minutes later. I did a few different designs, and these are the 5 spatulas. So let's take a look at each one of them. This one is a kitty, and look, I want you to see how beautifully these came out. The lines are just perfect. Came out real nice. This is the 3 cats. The second burn I think I did. This one here, just a Hello Kitty. Oh, this is the first one that I did, the Top Chef. So there's the Top Chef, there's the kitty in the middle, and Tara on the end. And in food we trust. So what do you think? Do you like it? I think they came out great, and all 5 of these are going to one of my Patreon supporters. As usual with all of my maker videos, I'm just going to go up the list, and each one that I do I'm going to give out to one of my Patreons. So if you want to become a Patreon, the link is down below. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I thank you for watching.